excuse me, where X is the volume of timber harvested in millions of board feet. For what harvested timber volumes is the value of timber at least 400,000 per million board feet? Now volumes, so there might be two of them because it's a parabola. So if you look at that, it's convenient, isn't it? If you look at that on our calculator here, eventually, see that function was y equals 0.125 x squared minus 569x plus 848,000. Now, obviously, oh, I didn't clear out my graph. It's going to be all messed up, isn't it?
What'd you do?
Sorry. I forgot to clear out my graph from earlier. It's going to be really messy. Start that over. Excuse me. All right. Oh, we did get a 4. 4800.
Oh, no.
All right, so obviously in this graph it's going to be tough to see anything because it's just all sorts of out of whack. So we're only worrying about a boundary between 400 and 2200 for your values of x. So for my window, for that, I'm going to change my window to be my x minimum at maybe 350, just so I can see it. And then my maximum to be at maybe 2300.
Why'd you choose 350?
Because it's less than 400.
Oh.
That's really the only reason. The maximums here, obviously the maximums will probably be rather large, so I don't know, let's just take a guess. They're looking for us to be around 400,000, so why don't we just put our maximum at 800,000 just to see what happens? Because you had a 0 here at 848, so just to get an idea of what's going on. All right, so at least we can see it. Okay. So we see something happening within this window of 400 to 2200 now. We can see that curve. All we did there is I utilized information in the problem to mess around with my window. I knew that I had a y-intercept at 848,000. Knowing that this is going to be up like a cup because the first term was positive, I knew that it's going to be decreasing through this range area. I don't know if it's going to be increasing again at that range, but I knew just kind of by looking at the numbers, I could probably get a good guess of what the window should look like. It's just playing with the window to see where you're going to go. So now they're looking at for what volume is the value. I keep sounding volume, sorry. For what value is it at least 400,000? So this might be very easy to do. Let's go to our table. Now, right now, my table is starting at 176. Do you remember how to change your table start at?
Second table set.
Very good. To change your table set, for you guys, when your calculators, to scroll up and down, it's rather quick. It goes pretty fast. For me, this one, I don't know why it's so unbelievably slow, but it is. So I'm going to have to change my table set so I'm not here all day. So I'll change it to, well, might as well change it to 400 because that's where I want to start looking at my table.
Wait, how'd you change it?
Second table set, second window. Okay? And now I'm just going to start scrolling through to figure out where is it going to hit 400,000. I mean, just scroll through. That's really what you're looking at doing here. Okay? It might take a while because it could be at like 800 or 900, I don't know. But that's kind of the idea. Okay? Kind of really all I wanted to show you with this is just how you mess with your tables. Okay?
I'm still trying to find it.
It'll take a while. I don't remember the number, the actual number value, but I know it's in there. But let's see here. What happens to the unit value of timber as the volume harvested increases? Think about it. Oh, you guys know the little thing called supply and demand?
Yeah.
So if supply is really, really great, the demand is a little bit lower, wouldn't the prices go down? If you have a lot of stuff that people don't want, wouldn't you lower the price to try to get people to buy it? That's kind of what it is. Basic economics. I'm trying to think if there's any other fanciness in the word problem stuff. Really. Abby, which one were you looking at? Abby, for what problem?
Are you talking about the review packet, or are you talking about the one that we're doing right now?
The other packet. I wanted to show this how you just jump to a table, because this is weird how you have to change the settings and stuff.
Wait,
That's
I
all.
got-
Do you guys know how to go back to a standard setting real fast?
I just reset
You
it.
can just reset it if you want.
How
Okay.
do you reset it?
Wait,
Seven
for that
plus
problem,
seven-
we were looking for
no,
the Y.
second
to be
plus
at least
712.
1,000.
Yeah, so where is the values of y going to be at least 400,000? I mean, obviously in this case here,
1,012.
yeah, so from 400 to 1,012 is when it's in that range.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Wait,
Okay.
I did not get this.
What's that? So to reset, in case you guys forgot how to reset your calculator, it's instead of having to go back and do a fresh type in a negative 10 by 10 window and all that kind of junk, one of the quickest ways to do it is to type in the sequence second plus sign 712 and then second plus sign 722. What that does is that it'll erase everything you have in your Y tables and all that kind of junk, and then the 722 restores the defaults. Basically, it goes back to your 10 by 10s. It puts things back into the normal decimal settings and things like that. It's a very, very easy thing to do. A lot of times, if you guys, how many of you guys are in chem? Oh, they don't let you use this calculator when in chem, do they?
No.
No, so you probably won't come across it. I know that sometimes, and you guys in physics, I asked it the other day, didn't I? You'll do stuff in the graphing here, where you'll do scatter plots, and a lot of times you get back to algebra going, how do I change it? And it's just quicker just to reset it. Which question were you looking at in that other packet then?
Wait, oh, I had for 10 and 12, I just got something different, so.
All right, let's take a look at it.
Wait, I know it's gonna do this correctly.
Yeah, I don't know how to finish.
Maybe
I
that's-
don't understand what I'm supposed to do with this, for this.
What it's doing here, think of it this way. It's asking you, the question is, for what values is your numbers less than, as it's coming down like this, for what values of x, I think it was at 400,
And 2,200.
what was the other one?
2,200.
No, what was the value you found that it was
1,012.
between 400 and 1,012?
Yeah, there you go.
This value was at least 400,000. Okay, that's what it was looking for. All you're doing is just scrolling through the table to figure out the two breakpoints. That's all it meant. Instead of going through and technically that is a quadratic inequality that you could shade, but it's a bit of a pain.
Are we gonna have something like that on the test?
I don't know. Yes, Sam.
I said I wanted to knock, and he said,
Because it's at 400. It was less than. It was at least six. It has to be at least 600. Or excuse me, at least $400,000. So $400,000 is the bottom end. Isn't this at least?
What?
Okay. So when you're looking at the word at least, so that means it's the lowest value can be is 400,000. So could it be bigger than 400,000? Yes. So that's why it's one. That's why that happens.
Oh, don't click it. I'm not even trying. I don't understand the goal here.
You said 10?
Well, yeah. That one works. Did you get the right answer for that one?
No.
Solve quadratic formula.
Yeah, I got wait, I got negative 4 plus or minus 6 9. So maybe just
I don't know how to change this to
The I is
So this one here, I get x squared plus 4x minus 22 is 0. Quadratic formula says opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So I get 16 plus 88.
Plus. Oh, that's where I messed up.
There you go. Negative 4 plus or minus the square root of what 16 and 88 is what 104. 104 over 2. Does 4 come out of that? You get
It's 2 root 26.
2 root 26? Yeah, that's right. So your answer becomes negative 4 plus or minus 2 root 26 all over 2. Notice all of the front leading terms there are all even. This is an instance that I can simplify it out by 2's and get negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 26.
Alright.
So-
Then I probably just did the same thing for the other problems. So
I
I'm just
did
gonna
that.
fix it
I
myself.
took out the, when it was, so I can't, when it's negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 104 over 2.
Yeah.
I
So you do the
can't
last whole
give the
number.
negative
Yeah.
4 to negative 2.
So
then-
No. Because what happens here is because there's a plus minus between.
Okay.
You can't simplify apart.
'Cause I had root 26 and I just didn't remember why the 2 on it.
Wait.
You guys remember how to simplify the square root in your calculator?
No.
Wait, why?
Once again, in order to do that, go back to your y equals table. Clear that out. You're going to take 126 divided by x squared. Go to your table. Well, obviously, I have to reset my table because it's all sorts of messed up.
Yeah, for
I'm
real.
going to reset my table to start at 0. And what I'm looking for in my table is for what value. Did I take, was it 126?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 104, sorry. I wondered why the numbers look. It's 124. I'm sorry, guys. I typed in 126.
It's not one.
It's 104. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. So as you're going through here, you're looking for the last time you have an integer value in your y column before everything goes to all decimals. That goes underneath your radical. The number in front of it is what's out front, so it becomes 2 root 26.
Okay.
That's how that works.
Then can you
Okay.
just do?
No, that just
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then I messed up 12 again.
Yeah.
I messed up
Take
12.
it,
So yeah.
How do you get rid of the bottom too though?
Because they simplified it to.
Because everything has everything's even. All the first terms are even.
So,
Same deal. Quadratic formula. So we have bring the 1 over. So we have 2x squared plus 12x plus 1. Opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 144 minus 2 times a. Oh, sorry. Minus 4 times a times c all over 2a, which in this case is 4. I wind up with 144 minus 8, which is 136.
Yeah.
So negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 136 all over 4. So I check my square root with that one. Y equals 136. See what I can simplify that to be.
234.
2 root 34, very good.
that's why.
So then, in this case, we have negative 12 plus or minus the square, 2 root 34 over 4. What can I do with all of those first terms?
Divide by 2.
I can take everything out by a 2 again. Okay. They all have GCF of 2, and that's where you get negative 6 plus or minus root 34 over 2. Now, I bet you the answer in the back probably said negative 3 plus or minus root 34 over 2. No, it did that? Okay. I know that there's a couple of them
Yeah, 'cause I
that,
got.
there was a, I think there was one of them that had,
3 plus or minus.
where you wound up with 1 plus or minus something over 4. It rewrote it as with a common denominator. You don't have to. Yes, sir.
On the test, we have to write it out twice. Like
No,
plus, or can we just
no,
put
you
plus?
can leave it like that.
'Cause
Absolutely.
In the back of the packet, I was wondering.
They
why.
do that, yeah. It's just, it's the way that the software spits out their answer keys. That's just how they do it. I don't know how to adjust that setting. I don't really, as long as you write it out like that and you simplify if you can with those leading terms, I'm cool. That's fine. It really is absolutely fine. Even if it was an integer. If it was negative 6 plus or minus 2 all over 5, I don't care. You can just leave it like
Do you have a
It's
big
not-
reason?
We do 21.
that. Look at his first. Sir.
Dude, so confused on the simplified.
redo
15.
Oh, great.
One is negative, another one is
16 all over.
I like to complete the square.
Do you have a
I
big
forgot,
eraser,
I
Mr.
forgot the
Murphy?
whole idea of completing this course.
Mr.
I like
Murphy?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have like a big eraser I can use?
If you give me a sec, I'll get you one, okay?
Okay.
Completing the square, first thing we have to do is make sure we get everything on one side first of all. Then we're going to take out the leading term coefficient. All right. So let's move the -2 over.
Thank you.
Well, so I have 9x squared plus 20x plus 69 is 0. First thing I got to do is divide everything by 9. We take out the 9. So we have x squared plus 20 over 9x plus 69 over 9 is 0. What happens to that 9 that's out front? Skedaddles.
Yeah.
If you ever played in television baseball, you're out. You have no idea what that is.
I know.
In television was like the precursor to the original Atari. It is the greatest game ever invented.
What are you doing?
When we had that game at home, when I was growing up, I got so good at that baseball game, I would just load the baseball, or load the bases, grand slam, load the bases, grand slam. My brother would never play against me ever again. Love it. So we take half of b and square, yes ma'am.
Remember when you guys put it in those commercials?
I'm gonna leave it like that, because that way I wind up, it might be a little bit easier with the common denominators. We'll see it in a second, because when we add those two together later, yes, I see what you're about to tell me, it's a negative, thank you, I just noticed that. When we add those together, we can add fractions in the calculator, and it's not a big deal if they're simplified or not, because the calculator will do that simplifying for us. Yes, ma'am.
Why did that, like the 69 over 9 go to the other side?
That's the rule. Move C, first thing you do. All right, so we take half, we take 20 over 9, and we're gonna take half of it. Half of 20 over 9 is 10 over 9. So in my term, it's gonna be x plus 10 over 9, quantity squared, bless you. When I square 10 over 9, I get 100 over 81. Because you square the top, square the bottom. Add that to the other side. In your calculator, if you type in, let's see, if you hit alpha y equals, it creates a fraction. We had negative 69 over 9, and we have to add to that alpha y equals 100 over 81.
I see what you negative 520.
I get negative 521 over 81.
And what's
So it
the-
doesn't really matter if you simplify the fraction because the calculator will do it for you in the end.
And
Okay?
what is this?
It really makes no
Yeah,
difference.
This is our answer?
Okay? No, we're not done yet.
That's good.
So we have, what was it, equals negative 521 over 81?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Now we have to take the square root of both sides. So we have x plus 10 over 9 equals plus or minus, I'm going to write this as two square roots. Square root of negative 521 over the square root of 81. What's the square root of 81? 9. So I don't have to worry about rationalizing the denominator. It works out cleanly.
I got it.
Okay? Now, in the numerator, what can I take out of the radical? Very good. So I'm going to move that 10/9 over. I have x equals negative 10 over 9 plus or minus I root 521 also over 9. 521, I don't know if it did have a perfect square in it or not. So what would I do to check?
Oh,
In
you
your
go to your
calculator.
calculator.
I go to my calculator again.
Divided by x squared.
Correct.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we're done. Now, one thing you might also notice, could you leave it like this?
Yes. No.
You can. It's fine. Now, if you left it like this, I'm happy. Not a big deal. Or you could have written it as this, negative 10 plus or minus I root 521 all over 9. It means the same thing because the 9's already had the common denominator. So if in your mind you're like, oh, I should do that, that would be good. Bless you. It's not a big deal either way. It really isn't. okay? You can leave it as the two independent parts of the fractions. So notice, the process here to do it and work with the fractions didn't change whatsoever. What changed is the fact that we probably used our calculators a little bit more than you would normally, okay? That's it. If you use the alpha y equals function on the calculator to get to a fraction bar, it will continue to keep things as a fraction for you. It is a nice little trick. What else you got?
Each goal.
You do one,
Like
can you-
Oh, okay.
21.
Yeah. I'll get it in 1 second. These guys get it through.
I do not know. I turned each eye into a -1.
It's just like you kind of fold it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I see.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get
Well,
number
not be able to practice.
Yeah, I don't
not
have
be able
to
to
do
practice.
this.
Practice. I probably went to go, so I'll just do it somewhere.
We good? 21? We right?
Yeah.
21.
That's bad.
Oh.
I thought my
Es matemáticas de imaginación. First hour I was speaking French. It was fun. Oh. Louis. We take the 8 imaginary number. Anyway, all this is distributed property. Distribute in both terms. So we have 64i minus 40i squared. And I do that again. Distribute in. I have minus 16i. And then I have plus 4i squared.
Oh, I squared me.
Very good. What is I squared?
-1.
-1. I squared is -1, so I get 64. Well, I'll do this real quick. What's 64 minus 16?
48.
48i, so we have 48i. This becomes -40 times -1, so it is plus 40. And this becomes, very good. I squared is -1. So I just rewrite it as -40 times -1, 4 times -1.
We're good.
Simplify it out, and then standard form of writing it, put the integer first, and then the I behind it, and there's your answer. That's the common way of doing it. Try to get you in the habit of doing that, because I don't know if we'll do it this year, but I know definitely next year we actually start doing the complex numbers with the graph, and it's much easier that
Can
way.
you do 22?
Okay, me and hers first. What do you got?
No, I was. Wait, what's my question?
22 is gonna be the same thing. It
Oh,
really is.
I did it the same way, but then I didn't get the answer. That's fine. I think it's.
What if we just like put it the other way, like the 48i plus?
You just asked the same
Oh.
question. This is like the proper way of
Yeah,
doing it.
I heard that.
I guess it's not the end of the world.
Alright.
Is that a -4?
Maybe do 22
Yeah.
again, then I'll come back for it.
How'd you get the 9?
What's that? Okay.
These two.
Sorry.
These are
I did not get 16.
four
I was just
i's.
trying the common factor, aren't you?
Same idea.
Show this work.
All you're doing is distributing out.
2i times
We have
2i,
20i
4i squared.
minus 8i squared
equals -4.
plus
So
I
do 4.
minus 8i squared.
So you just.
20i plus I is 21i. This becomes -8 times -1, which is 16, so it's plus 32. That's it.
I
It's
canceled
just
them out, that's
16.
why.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was adding them together already. So yes, plus 16. 8 and 8. I was thinking that had 2 and then double them out. Okay. Ladies first, or?
I just had a question.
Oh, which one?
For 17 and 18, if
Yeah.
the discriminant is positive, there's 2 real numbers.
Yes, sir.
And if it's negative, there's no real numbers.
It's 2 imaginary.
Two math.
If it's 0, then how many are there? 1 real, very good. Yeah, so discriminant's negative, 2 imaginary. Discriminant's positive, 2 real. Discriminant 0, 1 real.
Wait. Wanna say it again?
That again.
Which number is this?
We just did 14.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
We did 15.
No, we did 15.
Oh, I did 14 earlier today for someone. That's what it was. Sorry.
Which one did we just do?
You're snickering at me. Okay.
Which one did we do?
First thing, move the 7. So we have 8x squared minus 16x minus 49 is 0. Divide everything out by 8. Yes, they're learning how to drive. So divide everything by 8. We have x squared minus 2x minus 49 over 8 is 0. Don't simplify anything. Don't worry about it. Send it over. So we have x squared minus 2x plus blank equals 49 over 8 plus blank. Well, this one should be relatively simple. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. So we have x minus 1 quantity squared. When I square that, I get 1. But on the other side, instead of writing 1, what am I going to write?
Why'd you get a negative?
What's half of negative 2? There you go. That's
Because I do squared.
right 8 over 8. Okay.
It's just I'm getting mixed up in my
Remember,
arms.
guys,
X
the
is
rules for
here.
completing the square, you take half of b, and then you drop that in, square it, and it goes there and there. I just wrote it as 8 over 8 because I can figure out that fraction relatively easily. So what's 8 and 49? Put your feet down. And now I take my square roots. When I take my square roots here, I get x minus 1 is plus or minus square root of 57 over, well, what's the square root of 8? Very good. 2 root 2. Everybody agrees we have to move the 1 over, right?
Yeah.
That's easy enough. So I'm going to say it's 1 plus or minus. But I got to get rid of that root 2 in the denominator. What do I do? Root 2 to the top and bottom. So, square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. What's 2 times 2?
4.
4. So you get x equals 1 plus or minus something over 4. 57 times 2 is square root of 114, I believe. The answer said 4 plus or minus root 114 all over 4. The reason that was is because they got the common denominator for that first term. You don't need to. Not a big deal. Okay? Is that what you were worried about?
Yeah, because I got
That's, then you did, but does it make sense why they write it as 4? 4 over 4. It's not a big deal. I am not concerned. You don't have to do that. We never worried about it. And like I was saying earlier, it's something that this does, the book does. Okay. What else we got?
I know it should be easy, but I don't know. 18. Because I just.
Find the discriminant and state the term. So move everything to one side and pull out your A, B's, and C's. So we have negative 9x squared plus 3x plus 2. So A is negative 9, B is 3, C is 2. The discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. So I get 9 minus 4 times negative 9 times 2. Well, that becomes 9 plus 72.
But wait. Minus
Yeah.
79.
It's plus 72 because it's minus 4 times minus 9 times positive 2.
That's what I always forget.
So we get 72. So my discriminant, oh, not 72, sorry, it's 81. This part's 72, yes. It's a discriminant will be 81. Therefore, how many solutions and what types does it have?
2 real solutions.
Very good. We have 2 real.
How do you get
Oh,
two?
okay. I subtracted.
Because you have a plus or minus. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the plus or minus?
We don't do that. We're just talking about the discriminant. The discriminant, remember, is part of the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is plus or minus the square root of the discriminant.
Oh.
Okay? The discriminant just will tell you type and how many.
So it's always gonna be 2 real then?
No.
You give a negative number.
If it's negative, then there's 2 imaginary. If it's 0, you have 1 real.
We do 26.
Sure.
I thought I was doing it right. I didn't. According to the factor,
I pulled graphing off.
there's no graphing on it.
Yeah.
Alright.
I pulled graphing
Good.
off for right now. Yeah. Because
I suck at graphing, so I think.
Nice.
because when we start conics on Monday, it's all graphing.
Okay.
So I'll throw an inequality and like a system of inequality. Usually on our first quiz, I've done this before because I'm looking at the test here and there's a lot going on with quadratics. I've been like, we'll just hold the graphing off and we'll just do this. So when we do our first regular quiz and whatnot, I'll put a system and an inequality. So we'll come back to this, okay? Yes, sir.
So there's not gonna be like an axis of forward and
Oh, I can still do that, but I'm not going to have you graph.
Oh.
I can still ask you what's the axis of symmetry. I mean, I can say, what's the axis of symmetry of that? Well, the opposite of 6 divided by 2 times -3, well, that is -1.
That's right.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's +1.
Okay.
+1, excuse me.
Oh my goodness.
I had a moment that I plugged it back in and got like.
All right, we can still do that, because that's the part, but
You're gonna have
Can you
to
do that
graph
one?
it.
right,
Oh,
okay. Is that fair?
I just got the axis.
That way you don't have to worry about how much time do I have to graph, how much time do I have to do this stuff, that kind of stuff. Okay. So aside from the graphing, what else you want to look at?
Wait, can you do
I don't know.
Can you do like one of the first four, so like 1, 2, 3, 4? I forgot how to spell that. Oh, well, never mind.
I'll help.
Okay.
How do you graph these?
Factor. Solve the equation by factoring. So if I'm going to solve the equation by factoring, I get everything on one side. 3x squared minus 24x plus 45 is 0. What is the very first rule of factoring?
Get rid of the 3.
GCF.
Greatest common
I don't
denominator.
know. It's not the test.
Factor, it's close enough.
It's still your first.
Are all of these divisible by 3? Factor out the 3 and get rid of it. So we have x squared minus 8x plus 15 is 0. Since I'm solving for my zeros in this case, does that 3 have any other bearing upon the problem? Sayonara, sucker. So what times what is negative, or excuse me, what times what is positive 15? Add together to negative 8. Therefore you have zeros at? There you are. Those are your x-intercepts. Those are your zeros.
And for this one, does it matter which number you?
No, it doesn't matter which one goes first. It does not. It does not. Okay, you first.
Number 5.
Excuse me. Solve by taking square roots. When you're trying to solve by taking square roots, you're just trying to get the x squared by itself. Add 9. Divide by 7. 1. That's what, 5 left over?
It's 11.
11? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No, it's not.
That's not.
Negative,
It's
like,
negative 121 over 7.
Yeah, so it'd be negative 121 over 7.
Oh, we're talking about the next.
It doesn't
part.
divide, it doesn't go out cleanly. So you take the square root of that. All right? So we take the square root of that, we get x equals plus or minus 11I over 7. Or excuse me, square root of 7.
That's what we're doing.
So what do I do with that root 7?
Oh, that's
Not
right.
5 over 7.
So I get plus or minus 11I root 7 all over 7.
Sweet.
All right?
For 29, 30, 31, 32, there's no answers on the back.
There should have been. The ones that I did by hand.
Wow.
At the bottom?
On the very bottom there? They're on there.
Where?
I hand wrote them.
No, for 29.
It's right here.
Isn't that this?
That's the same as the equation, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not.
Wait, can
Let's
you?
do-
It looks the exact
Yeah,
same.
they look a lot the same there. Let's look at one of those. I don't have it on this sheet because I hand wrote those in. Which one do you want to look at? Just read it to me. You want to do the vertex form or do you want to do standard form? Or
Vertex is.
vertex form. So the vertex form is y equals a.
They're like the exact same answers.
Vertex is easier.
What?
It's just dumb luck.
Yeah.
Numbers I chose. Can I see yours real fast, please? Thank you. Write the equation in vertex form with the following information. Vertex is at 1, -10, and the point is at -3 and 54. What I want you guys to think about when you're doing these problems is that you have 4 of the 5 variables needed for the equation. The only one you don't have here is A. Bless you. So you substitute in everything you know. This is Y,
Yeah, I got it.
this is X, this is H, and that's K.
Are we gonna get into the equations for the test or no?
No?
Okay. Oh.
So 54 equals A, -3 minus 1, quantity squared, minus 10.
Wait.
So what's -3 minus 1? And what's -4 squared? 16. So I have 16A minus 10 is 54. Add 10, divide by 16, and that'll give me my A value, which is 4. And now I go back and resubstitute in, knowing what A is, into that vertex form. Excuse me. So I get Y equals 4, parentheses, X minus 1, quantity squared, minus 10. What I will suggest, if you have a problem like that, once you solve for it, put in your Y equals, check the table to see if the point given to you works. If it does, you did it right. If it doesn't, you done goofed. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Which problem?
I just did that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, 23. All you have to do here is a combined like term. So this is minus 4, oops, minus 4i minus 5i minus 5 minus 7i. Since it's just a plus and 1 in front of the parentheses, I'm just distributing out a 1. -4 minus 5 minus 7, well that's -9 minus 7 is -16, so it's -5 minus 16.
What if I just did -16?
It's not the end of the world. That's the proper way.
Better?
Not really.
Okay.
Rationalizing? Oh, I love to rationalize. So we need to get rid of the I in the denominator. We multiply by its conjugate. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a difference of squares. If you have a 2 minus 3i, I'm going to multiply it by 2
Plus 3.
Very good. So multiply top and bottom by 2 plus 3i.
Oh, yeah.
So you FOIL that out. You will not have a middle term. So it's going to be 4 minus 9i squared, which equals what? 4 plus 9, which is 13. Very good. So the bottom's done. That's easy. The top part's the one that takes a little bit longer. When you FOIL out the top, I'm going to write it off to the side here. I'm going to get -8 minus 12i minus 18i minus 27i squared. Okay. The minus 27i squared turns into what?
Positive 27.
Very good. So it comes into positive 27. So I have -8 plus 27 minus 30i. Was that 15? Your answer is 15 minus 30i all over 13. This goes along with the same idea as far as math is hard. I was adding the 8 and 7s. This goes along that same idea when you had those quadratics. If all 3 of those terms have something that's in common, like a 3 or a 2 or something like that, that's when you'd simplify all 3 of them. You can't just simplify one or 2 at a time. I think maybe some of the solutions split that fraction apart. You don't need to. There's really no need. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
How'd you get the 13? Like from the 4 minus.
What's I squared equal to?
Oh yeah, negative 1 or.
So you have
Yeah.
negative 9 times the negative 1. Okay.
Wait, so for these, do you always remember?
This is the bum rush of problems here today, isn't it?
What's up with
Yes.
this? What are we times of? What are we times
Correct
times of?
amundo.
Yeah, that's what we do, right? Yeah.
I know that's. Ude, one, utwe, I'm a ain say.
Wait, can you give us the
Yes,
graphs?
that's it.
Ude. First day, our a, ed day, ever day, day, is day.
Do we have, wait,
I don't speak.
Films have no idea what's going on. Yes, ma'am. Which one? Oh, yeah.
My past 2 years back, my teacher just wanted us to apply that when she didn't carry last week. She's like, I don't care. I don't know. We just apply this.
Except for
Guys, it's really straightforward. There's nothing scary. It's you'll have a couple word problems on there that haven't been. I mean, it's nothing that you haven't seen. There really is no scariness here. I pulled the graphing problems off because that way we're just in terms of time. This, I have it set up that this should only take you half an hour. It really should. Okay? It should only take you half an hour. All right? Everything's gonna work. No worries. Okay? Trust that you know what you're doing.
Okay, so do always multiply this by the
Yeah, so multiply with the negative.
Oh, it's the
It'll distribute out a little, it might be a little bit cleaner, but it just helps a little. It just like distribute through. I mean, honestly, you could have just, to be honest with you, what you could have done, was just, there's no plus or minus here, or there's nothing, then you could have just went top six. But it was like, it's like, just no bars.
So if I type it,
Because it says it's 5. If it was like 5 root 2, we'll find out 5 root 2. Same distribution. What you're doing here isn't wrong, but you're going to wind up with somehow everything here is divisible by 5. You didn't do it wrong, we just got to verify that you done. Alrighty, then so you wind up with 2. Is that right? Yeah, then you didn't. All I'm saying is that what you put in here was an extra scalar. So you have to. Zoo in there.